possible. And the crowd absolutely love it. This is why we love Formula One.
We have come to expect nothing but excitement from Interlagos, and the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, and the 2025 edition was no exception. Plenty of action throughout the grid, plenty of different strategies, pit stops, we had retirements, and we had Lando Norris romping away to an extraordinary win, his 7th on the season. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the paddock here at Interlagos for your post-race coverage on F1 TV. And Jolien, I mean, you must be catching your breath from the call, never mind the run down from the comms box.
Oh, I've had it all. I've been through it all today, Hinch. What a great race. Yeah. I've exerted so much more than the drivers there. They genuinely look quite tired getting out of the race. You forget in such an intense race when you're thinking wheel-to-wheel racing, barely a safety car as well. It's a physical anti-clockwise circuit. And yeah, drama the whole way through. Absolute privilege to call it.
And the other part of it, too, is we had a nice mix of strategies. Predominantly, it was a two-stop. Max on a 3, a couple of the drivers in the bottom half of the top 10 on a 1. But when you're not looking after tires, Alice, the driver's pushing more. It is a lot more physical from behind the wheel, isn't it?
It is, and as Jolien touched on, anti-clockwise circuit. Most of the tracks are clockwise, so your body gets used to going one way, and then you're throwing into going another way. And it's always been a tough race for the drivers. But yeah, constantly with strategies changing, you know, it kind of threw us all off with Red Bull getting Max in that late on to do the 3-stop. But that then threw everyone else off as well. But no, it's a great Grand Prix.
With Lando winning, Oscar finishing down in P5. That's now a 24-point lead. Lando himself earlier in the week said, I don't believe in momentum. But I mean, you look at the last 5-6 Grand Prix weekend, it's hard to argue it's not on his side.
I believe in momentum, and it certainly is there. But he's right in terms of you can't rest on your laurels. He's been on great form recently, but it's still within one race. Vegas is such an unknown. He's crashed out there in the past. We've only had 2 years of it. In the first one, he bottomed out and hit the wall. It could be anything that goes wrong. And Oscar, small margins got away from Oscar this weekend. It made the gap from 1 to 24. But it won't necessarily be like that all the way in. And one bad race, and it will tighten up to 0 or -1 again.
And still 83 points left to play for. That's a lot of points. A lot of points.
It is a lot of points, and you're going to a track after Vegas and Qatar that we know Piastri's really strong at. How did you rate Piastri's performance? I mean, you have to remember, he was right up there on Lando's gearbox before that penalty. Really gutsy move into turn 1, but it just went south for him.
It did, and on that penalty, I think it was super harsh. I mean, he was alongside. The only thing I can think of is maybe they thought, well, he wasn't fully in control of his car because he had the lockup, but ultimately, I personally think Antonelli turned across in front of him. I put it down to a racing incident. Jolien, you called it during comms as well. And then from then on, he was just chasing, because 10 seconds is a lot of time to lose. He definitely would have been in the podium, definitely P2. Don't think he had the pace to challenge Lando, but at the end of the day, when we get to Abu Dhabi, that penalty could be the difference.
It makes you wonder a little bit if he's starting to wonder, where's all this bad luck coming from? Finally got a good start, did the move to get up behind Lando, and again, like we had at Silverstone, penalty taken out of contention there. Does he feel like the world's just working against him at this point?
I'm sure he probably does. I mean, we'll wait and hear what he's had to say, but I agree. I mean, for me, this is if you look at it on the surface level, you say he's locked up, he's driven into Kimi. But you've got to take it back one step. Kimi's had a bad restart. He's got Charles on the outside, so Oscar's down the inside, and he's right there coming into the corner. Now, he doesn't want to crash. So when Kimi comes across, naturally, he's thinking, oh, no, the space is going, so I want to back out of this one. But he is entitled to the space there because he's along the inside on the way in. So it's only Kimi coming across that then makes it look bad because Oscar tries to do the sort of sensible thing and back out of it. If Kimi had tried to back out of it or open it up, Oscar would have been through fine. Charles is, unfortunately, very unlucky in this, doing his own thing on the outside, probably unaware of the 2 on the inside. It just smacks of a racing incident for me. But if you look at it on the surface level, you think Oscar's locked up, he's ambitious, he's trying to pass 2 cars in 1. But scratch deeper, and for me, this is racing. Accidents happen. When there's 3 cars all together, these sort of things happen. And it comes from Kimi initially closing the space. I understand it from Kimi because he's got Charles there. What do you do? It's difficult.
Kimi still had the space on had space on the right-hand side to Leclerc, didn't he?
But these things happen really quickly, and he won't have known what Charles going to do. But yeah, I think for me it's just a racing incident. Yeah, Kimi comes across. Actually, there's plenty of space between him and Charles. And then when Kimi comes across, what's Oscar going to do? You know, naturally you hit the brakes.
It makes you wonder if Kimi's too busy looking to the inside and didn't really realize how much room he did have to Leclerc on the outside.
You know what's a big whack that he has into Leclerc as well. So Kimi's just had his best ever race, but that could have easily been a retirement for him as well. And I don't know, for me it just looks like the stewards have seen, oh, someone's out, one of the main contenders is out, someone else tried to come in, passing 2 cars on the inside and locked up. But I don't know. For me, it's the cause of that is Antonelli coming across, and then Oscar's tried to be sensible rather than reckless.
It was a crucial moment in the championship, certainly, but it was one of only a few marvelous and entertaining moments in the Grand Prix. Let's take a look back at the highlights.
An electric atmosphere and a storied history. Brazil stands ready to host Formula One. With 4 rounds to go, everything is possible. The Sao Paulo Grand Prix is underway and we're racing down to turn number 1. Antonelli does not get the launch off the line, but Lando Norris felt the need to go to the inside line. He chops across. It's very, very close between Hadjar and Piastri, and Hadjar backed out of it there significantly, knowing that he was racing a championship contender. Oh, and the home favourites in the barrier. The yellow flag is out. Hamilton trying to pull out. Whoa, that's big speed.
It's just misjudged it into the back of Colapinto.
And here he goes, but I don't think there's going to be much breathing room down to turn number 1. 3 wide into turn number 1. Piastri went all in and contact with the top 2. Charles Leclerc is out of the race, and Lando Norris's dream weekend just got even better. Oscar Piastri has been given a 10-second time penalty. Verstappen, who started from the pit lane, is P9 right now as he gets past Fernando Alonso. Here is the race leader. 2.2 seconds is exactly what they needed.
Something I didn't think I'd say, Max, at the end of the pit lane earlier. You are now race leader.
Can't script this, can you?
Piastri will be diving to the inside. Behrman will be happy to be back in the points again. Piastri just has to give it everything now. And Verstappen hands it back to Lando Norris.
It's been a fairly vulnerable tyre this match, so yeah, do your best.
I take the loose.
Russell hugging the inside line, and Max Verstappen getting by. Lando Norris completes a perfect weekend. Antonelli with his best ever result. Max Verstappen from the pit lane to the podium. Is this the day that Lando begins to believe he can win it all?
Well, the 20 drivers of Formula One certainly put on an incredible show for the fans here in Brazil. And look at them post-race swarming the racetrack, soaking up the amazing atmosphere that we always find when we come here to Interlagos. And one of the drivers that put on a lot of entertaining moves for those fans was Max Verstappen. Alice, from pit lane to the podium. Only the 8th time in history it's been done. Anybody have that on their bingo card? Anybody expect it after the form they've shown this weekend?
No, we were saying in the pre-race show, weren't we? Pit lane, the Red Bull's not looking great. I mean, don't write Max off, but you'd be crazy to bet that he's going to be on the podium. Well, we were all wrong, and he proved us wrong once again. A great drive. He's sublime, impressive, and Max Verstappen, back to the Max Verstappen and the Red Bull that we've seen a couple of races ago.
And so, Jolien, how much of it is just Max being Max, putting the car on his back and marching it through the field, versus with that pit lane start, able to make a lot of changes? How much did they really improve the car versus Max just getting it done?
I mean, they've obviously improved the car night and day. He was genuinely struggling yesterday. The car was difficult, and he was out. But today, from the very first moment, he started at the back, was already onto the back of Lewis when Lewis had the collision with Colapinto, had the pit stop, charged through the field. He makes the moves look so easy, and you think, how well, he's just had the pace, and that's how he's done it. But he has made such light work of carving through the field. Anyone else in that situation, I don't think they are coming through with the pace that he came through. It's like he did in the wet last year. You think, oh, he's straight up into the top 10, and then the red flag changed the race, but he carves through, making it look so easy. And in the end, it was just a phenomenal drive. Obviously, they improved the car, and that gave him the performance.
It was a forced first pit stop for a suspected puncture. That kind of put him a little bit off sequence. and a lot of discussion about whether he stays out on that final stint. We had seen drivers take the mediums even further than what he would have had to do. Ultimately decided to pit for the softs, charge through the field. It's easy to play kind of Monday morning quarterback, look at it after the fact. Alice, from your position, he was kind of a net P2 if he stays out, would have had to defend. Did they do the right thing?
I mean, I think they took the safer option mainly because they had that brand new soft tyre. Otherwise, all the others had a used soft tyre. It took us off guard, but they've got way more information than we have. Max obviously was giving them feedback as well. So ultimately, it was still a good decision because he got a podium.
Yeah, we'll dive a little bit more into that in a second, but we do have a guest joining us now for the second time this weekend, joining us on the show, for the second time this weekend, getting points for Alpine, Pierre Gasly. Congratulations on the result. But look, I know scoring points is fun, but just talk about that. That race just looked fun. So many battles on the racetrack, back and forth. Just how was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the highlights. Everyone seems to have enjoyed that one. Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy. You know, the last Sunday we scored points was in Spa, so before the summer break, it's been a long 3 months with not much in our plate, and this weekend, for whatever reason, we showed some really good pace. So, you know, I was very happy to be fighting in the mix, and yeah, you know, with Hülkenberg, Isaac, who got some podium this year, so we got to understand where the pace came from. On the other side, I really felt like we had more pace than we were able to show. I was the entire race behind Isaac. I managed to get past him twice in turn one, and both times he got me in the straight after. And yeah, man, I mean, it was yeah, a bit frustrating to say the least, because I really felt like we had good pace. But yeah, in the end, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna complain with a P10. It's been a long year and not enjoyable all day, so I must say we can be very happy with today.
It's great to have you back in the fight, and I really enjoyed some of the lunges that you sent in at turn one. Talk us through the racecraft in Brazil, because obviously the Center S is your big chance, but then you can be done at turn four, as you sadly found out. But how do you try and judge when to attack, when to hold back?
I mean, I think it's one thing to thinking about it now, but you know, in Mexico you have like that DRS detection before the last corner, and it gives it to you for the next two straights. Next weekend you come here and you get it only on the first straight, but then after there's another detection in the chicane, and then it's different for the... So yeah, I must say I was definitely sad that they didn't keep it the same way as Mexico. I mean, for me, I felt very good. I wasn't really close enough any time to do a comfortable overtaking to turn one, so I had to take some risk, go quite deep to try, and compromise the next, you know, a bit the exit of turn two. But yeah, in the end, I'm happy I've tried, because, you know, there's no point staying behind and do like 60, 70 laps like that. So we went racing. Just a shame we didn't get past him, because I think we had the pace to kind of be in that gap behind Biermann. Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciated you making those lunges and making it exciting for us. So congratulations on a great race and a great weekend for Alpine.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
On the other side of the garage for Alpine, Franco Colapinto coming home 15th. So kind of not exactly the same result on both sides of the garage over there. And then, of course, the other local favorite, or the local favorite, the other driver with a lot of support here, Gabriel Bortoleto. Sadly, the very first retirement of the Grand Prix. And Jolien, you called it maybe a bit ambitious on the first lap.
Yeah, I think so. Probably Lance doesn't quite know he's there. He's got an overlap. You're supposed to lead the space. But I guess Lance is looking at the two ahead, driving back towards the line, and he's just got a tiny overlap. So I do feel like he's been trying to force the issue too much this weekend. It's his first ever home race. He is a rock star around here, but in the end, it's the worst possible outcome, a massive crash and a small crash. That means he didn't do the qualifying or the Grand Prix.
Yeah, it really was a tough weekend, one to forget, but hopefully one he can learn from. Let's hear what he had to say after the race.
Gabby, obviously really sorry to see what happened at the start, the contact with Lance out of the race. How do you sum up that one from your side and the weekend as a whole?
Tough weekend. Just very upset because it's in my first home race. You know, you always expect to do a good job or at least race a little bit. I think it has been one of the toughest weekends of my whole career, because I see that my fans are here, my family and my team, you know, for them is also very important, and you know, one of the biggest accidents I had in my career as well, probably the biggest one. I think it's a combination of things, and then not doing a single lap in the race after having a good start, you know. Until that moment, I think I was up 2 positions already, was going for the 3rd move, and yeah, just had a contact with Lance. I don't want to point fingers here or there, you know. I just think it's race incident. In the first lap, everything can happen. I think obviously I was in the outside, I didn't got any space from him, but also difficult from him to judge that I'm there, you know. So I just want to move on and go for the next race.
You said it there, you want to move on. Such a big weekend, of course, for you. Is there a message you have for the fans who have supported you so passionately this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, just thank you. Thank you, because even through all the difficult moments of this weekend, they have been there supporting, cheering, screaming my name and being there. So I cannot thank them enough. It's just incredible to see my country so happy to have someone, and I hope I make them proud soon, because weekends like this, for sure, no one is happy, not myself. But yeah, thank you everyone, every single Brazilian there, and everyone in the world watching and supporting me this weekend.
Thank you, Gabby.
So tough to hear. And Alice, on what was the most important weekend of his young Formula One career, probably had the worst weekend of his Formula One career. He talks about wanting to pick up, move on to the next one. How does a driver do that after such a difficult weekend?
I think firstly, what a mature and grounded interview. We've seen plenty of drivers go into the pen, and certainly when there's been a lot of pressure on them and home Grand Prix and wanting to deliver, wasn't pointing any fingers. He's going to have a look, go back and assess. And I do think from that he will move on, and he's got a great team around him, and he's been on the rise. He's been showing great pace recently.
Yeah, and that team still very much in the fight for 6th in the Constructors' Championship right now, 20 points behind Racing Bulls for that. Classified last P20, and just in front of him, a team that really also had a difficult weekend. That's the Ferrari squad. Lewis Hamilton classified 18, Charles Leclerc at 19th, both of them with very difficult races. Let's hear what they had to say.
Lewis, really sorry to see you here at this point. It looked like you picked up a huge amount of damage early in the race there. You gave it your best to keep going. Just how much were you dealing with out there in terms of the damage and the feel of the car?
Yeah, I mean, I got after the hit, it felt like the rear suspension was broken, but they said that it seemed to be all right. But something like could be crossweight or something like that. So it was quite a. And then the loss of downforce. I think we were losing 30 or 40 points of downforce. So when you were going through the high speed, the thing was snapping, and I was giving everything to try and keep up with even the guys that are ahead of me, and I had no chance.
It seems like one of those weekends where just nothing has gone your way. I mean, where do you go from here? There's still a triple header to come, things to fight for.
Yeah, I mean, geez, this is definitely a weekend to forget. It's a shame because I love Brazil. And also, you know, just everyone in the team, every single person in the team, they turn up every week and give it their absolute best. And to come away with nothing, to not finish a race, it's the second time in the year, it's really devastating, and I feel terrible for the team. I'm sorry for my part in qualifying, putting myself in that position. I just have to, we'll get back up tomorrow and just give it another go.
Charles, classic case there, a 3-into-1 doesn't go in the first corner. Talk us through it from your side. Oscar getting a penalty in the end for that.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree we have a rule book, and I think you've got to, I mean, the stewards are always trying to do their best to look at the rule book and to try and understand who is the one to blame. In this case, I really think Kimi knew and was aware that Oscar was on the inside. Yes, he was not side by side, which is the way it's written in the rule book, but you cannot really do a corner like nobody is in the inside if someone is on the inside, no matter how far he is. And so for me, it's a bit more of a 50-50 blame with Kimi and Oscar. I don't think Oscar deserved all the blame there, but yeah. Anyway, that doesn't matter. For me, it's the end of the race, which is very frustrating.
For yourself, even more frustrating when you were very much in the mix for a podium, maybe even more today?
I don't know if there was anything more than a podium, but a podium for sure, and it's very, yeah, it's a shame.
Thank you, Charles.
Yeah, great run for Charles Leclerc, coming unglued there in that move. And Jolien, you even hear him say it seems to agree with you about maybe where to lay blame. And again, potentially, we keep talking about this. Is it the way the rules are written that are creating some of these situations?
I mean, yeah, maybe. The fact that at the apex, Oscar was a little bit behind. At the apex, was he under control? No, he's probably locked up there. But come on, the guidelines, you can't stick so rigidly to them because you've got to look at why they're there in the position they are. So I think probably the stewards would say, at that point, which is what we're trying to be consistent about, this is the situation. But it's the situation because, as Charles said, Kimi's turning across, so he's put the Frightener on Oscar, which is why he's reacted in the way that he did, to avoid a crash, not cause the crash. That's the tricky thing.
I think if you've got a car halfway up your inside, that car is entitled to space. Okay, he wasn't fully out of control, and as Jolien trotted on, he had the lockup because the gap was closing because he was being squeezed. Antonelli had room on his right-hand side, and I, again, agree with Charles that Antonelli knew he was there, and he knew that Leclerc was there as well.
And Kimi is turning in towards an apex as well. I don't think Oscar's barreling in a silly amount of speed that he's going to wash super wide. So I think he'll be very unhappy about the penalty.
I think there's a difference between a lockup and being out of control. I mean, Oscar was where he should have been, where he needed to be. He didn't slide wide of the apex. He was still in control of the car, even if there is a little bit of tire smoke. Either way, with that double retirement for Ferrari, they take a huge hit in the Constructors' Championship. That tight battle for P2, they came in here 1 point ahead of Mercedes. At the start of the race, we were talking about maybe Red Bull's completely out of this discussion now because of where Max was starting, where the Ferraris and the Mercedes were. Ferrari have fallen all the way down to fourth, 4 points behind Red Bull off the back of that amazing drive to the podium from Max Verstappen. A healthy lead now, healthy relative terms for what we've seen in P2 for Mercedes heading into the next one. I mean, this really was a weekend to forget for Ferrari, wasn't it? Can they look forward to Vegas and really try to rebound and get some of those points back?
They have to. They've got no choice. And Lewis was, okay, downbeat, but he was apologising, but in all fairness to Lewis, when we had that onboard during the race from Max, that Ferrari did look horrible. Whether he had some damage or not, we've seen it all weekend. It hasn't looked nice on the rear. It's not looked comfortable for Lewis. Bit of a not too long till Vegas, a couple of weeks, but yeah, they've got to keep pushing, and of course both drivers will, and so will the team.
Lewis obviously had damage at the end. He picked up floor damage. So when he's hit the back of Colapinto, he's taken the front wing off the car. I think the front wing's probably gone under the car and scraped the whole underside of the car. The floor is so sensitive. If you're missing a bit of downforce, then you're going to go nowhere. And from the way he got on the radio under the safety car and said this thing feels loose, you think when he gets to racing speed, he's going to be nowhere. So when we saw Max then sitting behind him, Lewis was nearly spinning it through Ferradura, the quick right-hander. So in that position, racing is miserable. You're trying to hang on. You want to do the admirable thing and continue, but you know that actually this is pointless. I'm too slow. I'm missing downforce. It's not a fair fight, and they parked it up. The problem is why he had the damage. Because he had the contact at the first turn. Did he need to come across the front of Sainz? It's a tricky, racing incident, certainly, but that put him back a little bit. And then he drove into the back of Colapinto. He also qualified badly, so in the end, the Ferrari car was mangled, wasn't it? But already the race was gone bad from 13th on the grid. Yesterday was bad. It's been a terrible weekend. He needs to reset. He was good in Vegas last year. He needs to just have a complete reset.
Yeah, and you got to give him credit. He does put his hand up for the part that he played, not only in the qualifying position that put him back there, then the incident like that. Again, Ferrari dropping all the way down to fourth in the Constructors. Mercedes right now 34 points ahead of Red Bull off a very strong weekend, both in the sprint and the Grand Prix, heading to Vegas, where they had an incredibly strong race last year. Let's hear the thoughts of Toto Wolff on their weekend.
Toto, have you caught your breath after that one? P2 and P4, but it was in the balance right to the flag.
Yeah, I'm so proud also how they fought it at the end, both of them holding on to a quicker car under immense pressure, and that was really good.
I mean, let's talk Kimi first. P2, his best result in a Grand Prix so far in his rookie year. He's had a great weekend, but how proud are you of the way he handled that pressure from Max?
I mean, he had a P3 already, in Montreal.
P3, yes, but not P2.
Yeah, absolutely P2. Besides my shoes, yeah, fantastic. I mean, you have a world champion behind you that is putting a lot of pressure onto you with a soft tire. That is new, and he was still able to hold on. Bravo.
And for George, it looked like a good recovery, given that he was struggling a bit more yesterday.
He was struggling the whole weekend, and he was also struggling with the car today. And then, it was difficult to keep Max behind, but eventually Oscar was on a newer tire, and he did it. So, as I said, the two of them did a super job.
Was it a surprise that it was Max fighting with your two drivers, though, today from the pit lane?
Well, with Max, you can never write him off, even if he comes from the back. I think they did the right things on the car. That was probably the fastest car of the race.
But a massive day for you guys in the Constructors' Championship as well, with Ferrari failing to score and Kimi staying ahead of Max. How much of a boost is this to the whole team with 3 races to go?
That's good. It's such a solid point advantage. But you can see how quickly it goes. I mean, the Ferrari had a write-off day, and if that happens to us in any of the remaining 3 races, it can swing the other direction too. So you've got to keep both feet on the ground and just continue to score points.
Toto, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Great to hear from Toto Wolff on the great weekend for Mercedes. And just how about those final laps from Kimi Antonelli defending against Max? The part that I love was Bono coming on the radio, his engineer saying, with 4 to go, you know what? I'm just going to leave you to it, let you do your thing, and he delivered.
Great trust between engineer and driver, and that's exactly what you need. And a mature drive from Kimi Antonelli. I don't know what he's been eating the past few races, but it's certainly working, and things are just starting to click at the right time, not just for him, but for Mercedes as well, crucially in this fight in the Constructors.
I love the fact that Toto thought he finished 3rd. Did he just think that Max would get him, and that was it? Oh, well, 3rd and 4th is still good. It was amazing that he held on. I thought he was going to get done by Max as well. When you've got Max on a new soft tyre charging up through, Kimi did so well to keep it clean, get the traction off Yunsao and keep Max out of range, because Max would have sent one from a fair way back, but just not a crazy way back.
Yeah, actually, great result from the whole team. Better result for McLaren taking the win. Chris caught up with team principal Andrea Stella.
Andrea, that looks like the perfect weekend for Lando Norris with that victory today, but were you surprised to come under a bit of pressure at times, maybe from Mercedes, maybe from even Max Verstappen?
In a way, not surprised, because we saw that the gaps were very small this weekend. We would have liked to have more margin, like Lando said on the radio in the in-lap, like we like to win, but we like to win better like with the margin we had in Mexico. But overall, Lando executed a perfect weekend. Perfect pit stops as well today. Well done to the team, and a little bit more that we could have done with Oscar. Certainly the penalty was a bit of a shame, but in that case we accept the decision of the stewards and we look forward.
You say you accept that decision, but were you surprised by it on a restart 3 wide into turn 1?
Yeah, surprised by the penalty.
By the penalty, yeah.
Look, it's difficult to say. I haven't yet talked to Oscar yet. I haven't looked the video myself except for the replays, so it's one of those in which I think the best thing to do is just rely on the stewards applying some consistency. We don't have major reasons to complain, so we just have to stay focused and move on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, great result for Lando Norris. A little bit of a disappointing penalty there for Oscar Piastri. Probably not agreed upon with the team. Joined now by Alex Jakes, fresh out of the comm box. Have you caught your breath? It must have been almost as much fun to call that race as it was to drive in it.
I'm definitely not fresh out of the comm box, Hinch. I'll tell you that much. It was epic. It's always amazing here. But for a dry race, to have so many cars battling all the way to the end, that's everything we love about this place.
Yeah, it really was. Now, in that interview from Andrea Stella, as well as that post-race interview that you did with Lando Norris, he said, I wish we were faster. We won by not enough. It was a 10-second gap to second place. What is he on about?
Well, he wants to just go into the sunset, doesn't he, on a Sunday?
The 30 seconds he had in Mexico was more comfortable,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Make it easier for me, please. But, I mean, really, he's driving at such a high level, Lando, and it felt never in doubt. Well, until Max pitted. When Max pitted from the lead, it felt never in doubt, because he just had the legs on Oscar. He's been stronger than Oscar so far this weekend and for the last few weekends. He's dealing with pressure so well. Safety car restarts nailed. Race starts nailed. He's not always been there on those, and especially pressure ones like right now. So you can't fault Lando. He's driving brilliantly, and he's got a big lead now.
The pressure thing's an interesting question. I mean, you've called a lot of races, a lot of qualifying sessions of Lando Norris. There's been talk in the past that maybe he wasn't quite as mentally strong as some of his opponents. How much has he done in these last 5-6 Grand Prix weekends to really just stamp out any of those doubts?
Yeah, it's been a hot streak at the most important part, hasn't it? And I think that the key thing really is, he's described it, where he would make errors in the past that would cost him a tenth, they're now costing him hundreds. if you contrast this to exactly a year ago at this racetrack, lost the lead off the start, was constantly asking on the team radio, where's Max, where's Max, where's Max, all the way through. And it was brutal to listen back to. It's all disappeared. It's all gone. And he's worked hard on having the right approach at the end, and he's come good at the pressure moments. The one thing I would say, said at the end of the broadcast, going to say it again, the pendulum can still swing. There are no foregone conclusions. He's got a lead, Lando Norris, at the moment, but he's still got a fairly long way to go. Still 4 races, 1 sprint, 3 Grand Prix.
It feels like every time someone gets a little bit of a buffer in this championship, that's when that driver starts to struggle. When you're far enough back, you can really kind of throw caution to the wind and go for it. So, you know, with Lando coming in here, he had a 1-point lead in the championship. That's nothing, right? Now 24 points, kind of closer to what we saw Oscar Piastri have post Zandvoort. That's kind of when it started to come unhinged for Piastri. Can Lando keep his focus, keep the mindset he's in right now, and keep pushing forward? Or does he start playing a little bit defensive with only 3 to go?
I wouldn't say so. You've just got to keep going forward. And as Alex said, last year he was worried about Max. He only seems to be worried about himself now. So all his energy and all his focus is on himself, so that he's taken that change in mindset. He's learnt that from last year. As the guys have said, there's still a lot to play for, a lot of points. So if he just lifts himself, is the foot off the gas, or just, you know, has a little look anywhere else, that could be game it.
You know what, I wouldn't like to go to Vegas next if I was Lando. You're on this roll, but Vegas is an outlier of a circuit. It's cold, it's a very smooth surface, it's the sort of one that Mercedes will be quick, Ferrari will probably be quick. And that means that if you have an off weekend, the walls are really close, it's easy to put it in the barrier when the tyres don't get fired up and you're at high speed. You can easily be at the bottom end of the top 10. And if Oscar's working magic, which he's capable of, he can win the race. So if it was Qatar, if it was Abu Dhabi, if it was any of the conventional race circuits, I think Lando's in the groove and he'll be tough to beat. But Vegas will just knock you out of kilter if you're not on laser focus. And he's not got great form around there.
And that's one of those races that could just have it swinging back in the other directions. Jolyon said it in the interviews, 3 very happy drivers on the podium at the end of the day. Let's hear from them, Max Verstappen, Kimi Antonelli, and your winner, Lando Norris.
Max, P17 to the win last year, pit lane to P3 this year. From where you were yesterday, I mean, what a drive that was.
Yeah, it was a very good race, even with a puncture as well in the race. So I had a good first lap after the safety car. Already overtook some guys, but then, yeah, somehow we picked up that puncture, maybe from some debris that flew off in front of me in the first lap. But then, yeah, I think we had strong pace. We did the right calls as well with the strategy, and to be on the podium from the pit lane is something that I definitely didn't expect jumping into the car this morning. But at the same time, I was looking forward to it. I was excited. I also want to say a big thank you to the team, because it's been tough, but we are all, you know, in this together, and we never gave up. We take risk, yes, but I like that. You know, to always try and be better, because we don't want to settle for second.
Kimi, well done, P2. Wondered if we could get your take on the incident with Oscar, first of all, how the race developed from there, and you must be feeling very happy at the end of it with what you got out of it.
Yeah, I mean, very, very, very tired. Yeah, I mean, I had a bad restart, a bit too aggressive on power, and got some wheel spin, and I lost momentum on the way to turn 1, and yeah, then we were 3 wide. To be fair, on the braking, Oscar was not fully alongside, and you know, the thing is, I was a bit in a difficult position because I had Oscar on the inside and Charles on the outside. So I tried, you know, my best to give space to both. You know, then to be fair, I didn't really see the crash. I need to see. I just know Oscar locked up, and you know, just at the apex, I got hit, and I ended up onto Charles, which, you know, was a shame because, you know, I ended up crashing with him, and he had to retire, and not what they wanted. But on my side, I was very lucky to keep going. Need to check with the car if I had damage. It felt a bit weird, to be fair, the car afterwards, but you know, we still kept our head down and managed to finish on P2.
Lando, congratulations. We talked about Mexico yesterday. You controlled it again from start to finish. Talk us through it.
Yeah, It was a great race. I mean, it was well managed, well executed, good starts, pit stops, decent strategy. It was just, it's been a good weekend once again, you know. So very happy. I was just very happy. I think I was pushing. It was still not an easy race. Like I had to manage the tires a lot, and the pace was great. Clearly, I think it wasn't the easiest of race in terms of managing tires, and I think we're missing out a little bit to Max, for instance, who was very fast. But otherwise, just a perfect weekend in terms of every session, every quali, every race. Just what I need to do.
Touched on it there. From the outside, it just looks like everything's clicking for you at the moment. How much confidence do you take into this final decisive triple header of the season?
I just take the confidence that I have now. That's a good amount. It's the amount that I need. I think too much confidence is bad, not enough is bad. So I feel like, you know, you got to find the right balance with it. It's been 2 great weekends, but Formula One, things can change very quickly. So don't get too excited, don't get too complacent. A lot of work still to do, a lot of points up for grabs. So just keep my head down, keep working hard, and see what I can do.
Well done.
Thank you.
Your podium finishers from the Sao Paulo Grand Prix: Lando Norris, Kimi Antonelli, and Max Verstappen. That's round 21 in the books, which means round 22 is just around the corner. Las Vegas in 2 weeks' time. We're going to start with weekend warm-up. It's going to be at 2 a.m. on Thursday, November 20th. It's the same day that practice is. The way this all works out, a little bit of a different flow for us. So practice is going to be that evening, 4:15 local time for FP1, FP2 at 7:45, heading into Friday for that third and final practice. Before we head into qualifying, pre-show at 7:30, qualifying will kick off at 8 p.m. local, and then your pre-race show on Saturday evening, 7:50 local time, before the Formula One Heineken Las Vegas Grand Prix at 8 p.m. local. And as always, extensive post-race coverage right here on F1 TV. Well, guys, that one's done it. What? 2 a.m.? Yeah.
2 a.m.
Don't worry about it.
Best schedule we've ever had. I've never seen a reaction like that from the crew or the talent. That's unbelievable.
I luckily had that told to me a couple hours ago, so I was prepared for seeing it. Yeah, okay, I'm over it now. We'll chat later on how to emotionally deal with this trauma that's going to come from that weekend warm-up. So you better watch it, because we're putting in the effort big time in Las Vegas. Jakesy, just sum it up. This race never disappoints, never lets down. I don't know how you can always top it, it seems like, every year we come back.
One of the best atmospheres I've ever had the privilege of being in. The cheering for Bortoleto, and then the Franco fans responding, Ayrton Senna's name still being chanted in these grandstands, and lots of action on track all the way to the end. What we love about Interlagos.
I mean, just real quick, Jolien, you loved all weekend long listing out the names of the corners on this racetrack.
Yes, he has.
Has Verstappen earned his own corner yet? I feel like he's got to be pretty close.
Yeah, but they're iconic names. We need a Portuguese version of a Max Verstappen. He's been amazing, hasn't he? I don't know, maybe turn 8. He didn't make an overtake there, though. I don't think. It's unnamed as yet. Maybe he's saving it for Max Verstappen.
We'll get a poll going.
Rain or shine, he's amazing. And you know what I won't do for the next races? Write him off. I'm done with that now. From the pit lane to the podium, from 17th to the win. There was a moment I thought he might win it from the pit lane. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
We had to look it up. We looked it up in the box.
Has this been done before? No, it hasn't. All right, let's hope for this. That was great. All right, let's look ahead to Vegas. Very different racetrack, very different conditions. Only 2 races worth of data and history for these teams to go off of. What's the biggest challenge for these teams and drivers?
No room for error. And those cold conditions as well. Chuck that in there, bring your woolly hat, because it gets chilly in the desert. And again, we keep talking about being crunch time, and we are going to the final 3 races of the season. As Jolien touched on, Lando's not had a great race there in the past, crashing out. And the mistakes, if you make one, the walls will find you.
It is all about jeopardy in Las Vegas. Anything can happen. Very much looking forward to going there in 2 weeks' time. Certainly hope that you're going to join us as we get to the final 3 rounds of the Formula One Championship for 2025. Championship still very much alive. Constructors battles all the way through. It's going to be great. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.
From Las Vegas, this is Formula One.
Welcome to Las Vegas.
Racing to turn number 1, and they open the door for Charles Leclerc.
The crowd love it.
It is time for the main event under the bright lights.
This is the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
George Russell wins the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is a 4-time world champion.
Oh my God, what a season.